everybody. This is Al Nash from the Unapologetic Women Empowerment Dynasty, and you're listening to the Unapologetic Women podcast, their show for women who choose to live their legacies, unleashed, unlimited, and unapologetic. If this is a space you are curious about, visit unapologetic-women.com. Today, we're talking about being unrelatable in joy with Anna Thelman. Anna is a sexual intimacy coach who helps you to get your orgasm back by getting out of your head and into your knickers. She has coached over 250 people in the last 7 years using various NLP and psychology. Her focus is your mindset, as she is a firm believer in a thought-creating reality. Thanks for joining us. This is Anna. Who introduced us? Carmel introduced us. Shout out to Carmel, who, by the way, still has not come on the podcast. And I still need to drag her on here.
What's her excuse for not coming on?
She has a joy-filled life. She doesn't have any deep, dark moments to share. But that's the whole point. It's almost as though we have created a society where if we don't have the heroine's journey to share, that we don't have anything of worth to share. And I specifically want to get her on to the podcast because I want to give women permission to have joyful lives and to understand that that is as important at this time as for those of us who have been through some fires and got a little suntanned in the process. But yes, I remember when she made the introduction and I saw sexual intimacy coach and I was like, yeah, I want to meet this woman. So Anna, welcome onto the podcast. It's such a delight. Thank you for saying yes. And I can't wait to get delving into this conversation.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
And what time is it there at the moment? Because you're on the other side of the world.
Oh, yeah. It's 10 a.m. here. So I'm, I think, 2 or 3 hours ahead of behind you.
Yes, beautiful. Yeah. So let's start with a question that I start every podcast with. And it's the question that has, quite frankly, changed my life. What does it mean to you to be an unapologetic woman?
To me, it means to be me, because we talked about this feeling ashamed actually to have a happy life and to not have these history or this trauma that you've gone through. I was at a point when I was younger where women didn't like me. And I found out if I tell them what happened to me, if I tell them a traumatic event, they would have probably pity, but they also put me down or take me down from the pedestal that they have put me on. That's why they don't like me. And then they were more open to get to know me. And even though I liked it at the time because women just opened up and I had female friends, it was amazing. It wasn't me because I don't want to put a story out or just drag something from my past up and say, this is what happened to me. Please be sympathetic and like me. It's more like, this is me, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Take it or leave it. So that's for me is an unapologetic woman to just the whole shitty and the good shitty.
I'm going to put in right here, right now for anybody listening to take full responsibility for their personal well-being and triggers that's going to come out of this conversation clearly. Because that is a can of worms that I am busy opening, which is not making me very popular amongst women, because I'm calling out this bullshit of the martyr feminine and how we are being conditioned, how we especially have been conditioned that women have to struggle women have to have a victim story. Women have to have a self-sacrificial story in order for us to be relatable. Oh, let's go there, because let me get onto this little soapbox, because I get onto this one so often, especially in the marketing arena at the moment. People must know, like, and trust you. And in order for them to know, like, and trust you, we have to share these stories of the heroine and our overcoming and all of this stuff to let others gravitate towards us, and in order for us to become relatable.
I know what you mean.
Oh my God. I remember, marketing people, by the way, don't like me. I worked with a marketer a few years ago, and he told me that he can't work with me because I am unrelatable in joy. And unless I was willing to stop being so happy, nobody would accept me on social media.
What did you do?
I left social media.
Good choice.
But what do you think it is? And what do you think it is about women that they want other women to have a hardship story for them to even open up the possibility to getting to know you?
How I see it is that it depends on where on your life journey you are. Because some women, doesn't matter their age, have grown and they are confident and they are okay with who and where they are. And I think these women, they don't need this relatable victim story to gravitate towards you. But then there are these other women who are not there yet, who are still in their victimhood, who are still struggling, who are still growing.
Mm-hmm.
And the confidence might be lower, the self-acceptance might be lower, and they want to have someone to relate to see they are not alone. They can do it as well. And they need probably more often someone to find themselves in this other person. Because I've been talking to a brand photographer, and she said the same thing. When you create your post or your website or whatever, share personal stuff so people can relate to you, people see the person. And I said, but I don't want to. I'm a coach. That is my profession. That is my business. I share value with you, with my clients, with everyone. But I don't want to share my personal sex stories or my relationship stories. That's not me. I don't feel comfortable doing that. And she was like, yeah, but how should people then relate to you? How can they see themselves in you? I said, I guess the right people will. Yeah. And if they don't, then they're not the right customers, not the right clients for me.
Yes. It's interesting for me. One of the reasons I have evolved out of coaching is because coaching has become an industry, and in the process, the art of coaching is being lost. And most people don't understand the difference between coaching and mentoring. And 99% of what you're seeing online, people being coaches, are in fact mentors. They teach you their methodologies, their strategies based on their experience, but very few of them have been trained in the art of coaching, which is the art of powerful transformational conversations, which has nothing to do with the person, which is the coach, and it has everything to do with the art of the conversation. And it's interesting for me how this seems to be even taking strong coaches out of coaching and going, okay, well, I need to make the business work. So I will stop being a coach and I will start being what you think coaching is in order for me to get the clients. And I did that for 7 years. And in that, I evolved out of coaching, which is how I am creating the new space of self-leadership, which is a whole other ball game, right? We have to share our stories in order for us to become relatable. How much do you think that is really serving women at this time? And how much do you think has become sensational more than the sharing of the wisdom? For me, the wisdom comes from extracting conscious learning from our life experiences and sharing that versus sharing our life experiences. How are you finding, or how are you experiencing that for yourself?
So when we come back to social media, there is a particular platform, and when I go through my feed, it's one post after the other, like I am down, or I've been down and I went through this and I got out of this. If you want to work with me, I can help you. And it's one post after the other. And I personally, similar to you, I took a step back from that platform because I thought I can't handle it. It's, for me, it's too much negativity in the sense of, I understand your story and it's great that you worked through it, that you came out the other way, but reading it every day, one after the other, it's, for me, it's depressing. It's just, it doesn't give me joy. I don't feel connected. I just feel like, I wouldn't say rejected, but just like, no, don't want to read it anymore. Go away. Tell me how happy you are now. Tell me what makes your life so pleasurable. What is it in your life that you enjoy most? And share that happiness with the other people. But it's like, I think with the news, it's the same. Only the drama sells and the sex. So when you have these two things, yeah, you're guaranteed to have a lot of people looking and watching and commenting.
Yeah.
But
Drama,
if you don't
sex, and money, right? Drama, sex, and money.
Yeah, the money. Yeah. It's always the power. And yeah, and if you just share happiness, then you get the other people in who say, yeah, it can't be. You like your marketing guy can't work with you. You're too happy. How shall we sell that? And it's like, but what do you want me to do? Do you want me to go in the corner and cry just to make you happy?
Yes. Yes. Or share all the drama that I've been through. Now, here's my thing about that. Yes, I've lived some shit.
Hmm.
It doesn't define me. I don't define myself as an overcomer or a hero or a badass anymore. I did for a long time. Oh my God, I'm such a badass. Look at what I'm doing, right? I've outgrown all of that. Thank God for getting older, is all I'm going to say. For anybody who thinks getting older sucks, what a lie. Getting older is the most amazing thing that this life experience is gifting us, especially as women, especially in this time. When I keep on rehashing the story of how I get here, I am still stuck in a pattern. I'm still stuck in a pattern, and I can only recreate the same beliefs all of the time that got me here. Whereas if I remove myself from the story and I just extract, well, what did I learn and who have I become in the process? And now I literally live from this space forward. What I get to do is I get to communicate with people who are here. Now, by the way, I know this is becoming a coaching conversation, but I do think maybe this is important to have as well, right? Coaching was never somebody on a pedestal. Coaching was always a coming together of peers, two equal human beings coming together in powerful conversation. The one is not ahead of the other one. The one is not teaching the other one. Two equals coming together, having a powerful conversation in the moment from where you are finding yourself right here, right now. And then projecting into the future, right? Of who we are becoming. It's always been about the internal transformation, was never about the results. And I still don't believe it is. I believe it is about the transformation. But if we are going to continually rehash the story to tell people how great it is that we are where we are, they are regurgitators and rehashers of your life. And so we are removing the original creation, which is possible with introspection and creative conversation. And what we are seeing at the moment is, I don't know about you, but for a lot of the time for me, it's like Groundhog Day. Like it is little minion people. Everybody's looking and sounding the same. It's like everybody is reading out of the same life book script. And we are losing the pioneering, the authentic person, the rich life experience that is actually available to us at this time, which doesn't come from learning everything that everybody else did, but comes from going inside and going, well, what else is a solution for me at this time? How do I get to do this? I'm like so hungry for originality. Even going to the movies, I'll sit in a movie and I'll say out loud, oh, this is going to happen next. And then it happens. And whoever's with me goes, have you seen this movie before? And I go, only a gazillion times, because they like stuck on the same script. Everybody is writing the same movie and using new technology to make it look different. But where is the originality, Anna? Like what's happening to artistry and creativity? And do you think that it's part of what we as women are here to bring back through our madness, our wildness, our passion, our sexuality, our pleasure, our desire, our richness, our messiness? Do you feel like that's what we're here to do at this time? Because I sure as hell do.
I think we are the start of it. I don't think we're in that we bring it out, but we open the door for it to happen.
Yeah.
So we are the starter of it all, and then with the examples that we set now, our children, the next generation, the generation after that, will then have that and can live that out and be that messy and artistic and enjoy everything, the pleasure, the pain, etc.
Yeah. How did it come that you became a sexual intimacy coach, which is one of those topics that most women still shy away from?
Well, the name just came about a couple of weeks ago, to be honest, but the topic itself, so I've been a coach for many years, and I was a general life coach because I didn't find for myself that one space where I thought, this is me. I always had this idea, self-love. I want to help women to accept everything that they are. Yeah. And with that, we can change the world. So that was my idea, but I could put it down in words. And then one morning, got out of the shower, I had this amazing idea. And I thought, if all of this tools that I'm using, the coaching tools, the knowledge that I have, if that works in all the areas in my clients' lives, why wouldn't it work in the bedroom? Yeah. And for me, it's when it comes to masturbation, over the years, I developed this idea that I have to have this amazing fantasy. It's getting bigger and better and whatever, more colorful, whatever it is. And you masturbate, and then something else pops into your head. And you just like panic in your head while you masturbate. Oh my God, I'm losing this fantasy. Oh my God, I'm losing the feeling. And it wasn't joyful anymore. It wasn't fun. It wasn't pleasurable. It wasn't the orgasm that I wanted. It was more like this rushed before the fantasy goes away.
Yes.
And I thought, let's try this. Let's see if it works. So I went down to business. I got my bunny toy out, and I used my tools to quieten my mind, to be focused, to be in the present, and to feel my body. And I used the tool, I used the bunny, and I had an amazing orgasm without a fantasy, without any thoughts coming to distract me. And I could just feel my body. And it was so amazing that I thought, I need to share this. I need to help women to enjoy their body, not just the sex or the orgasm, but being happy with their body, being happy how their body feels, how it looks, how it behaves in certain situations. And that was the birth hour, I guess, of me wanting to help women to get their orgasm back. Yeah, and the name, like I said, just came after I talked to a lady about my business strategy, and she said, Anna, you need a proper name, you need a proper coaching name. And then we came up with Sexual Intimacy Coach.
It's interesting for me. You talk about getting your orgasm back, and I'm going to actually invite in the conversation that it needs to start going beyond the orgasm, because I worked with a sexual coach. No, I've worked with a few sexual coaches. I come from a background where I was raped, and I had a lot of sexual tension and stuff in my marriage. And so part of my leaving the marriage was reclaiming my sexuality, first of all, as a woman, or reawakening my body, because my body had shut down completely over the years. And it got to a space where it was like orgasm on demand. And I had a conversation with my one friend, and we were both going, oh my God, it's becoming ridiculous. We can have an orgasm within 2 minutes, but it's so rushed. It's just, I need to have an orgasm. I need to get the release. I was almost addicted to the orgasm and getting that quick energetic release in my body, that it still wasn't pleasurable, and there was no intimacy with myself in the process. What was the difference for you between having an orgasm and being intimate with yourself?
Interesting question. So having an orgasm and being intimate. So when I compare it to before and after, my great idea. Before, it was like you said, it was this quick release, thinking about the fantasy beforehand, and then when I go down to business, I know what I want to think about. I know where I want to get with my fantasy, and I know that if I do this, then this is going to happen quick. Yeah, it's like
get down to business. I mean, that says it all, right? I need to get down to business and have an orgasm.
Yeah. And the difference for me now is the feeling is different beforehand. So it's not in my head anymore. It's not this, oh, what fantasy. The preparation time is gone. And I can just lie there and enjoy how my body reacts. So how it builds up and how it then, not the orgasm, but beforehand, how does my body feel? How do I look when I look down on me? It's like, and enjoy it more.
Yes.
I still get an orgasm quite quickly, but I think that's because of I let go of everything, and it just happens because I just give myself over to that feeling. But yeah, the preparation time is different, I'd say.
Which is such a beautiful mirror for me. So I always look at one area of life mirrors all areas of life, right? If we can figure something out in one area of life, it's translatable to all areas of life. And as I'm listening to you, that is very much my life shift, and the work that I now do is to get out of what is the fantasy? What is the preparation that I have to do? Let's get down to business. Let's get the outcome, and then let's get on with life. Very masculine in the energy of that, right? Which is very much how we are brought up in this time, to the more feminine way of the preparation is not even necessary. It's the intention and the presence, the enjoyment and the appreciation, which then creates an orgasm as part of the experience, not the chased outcome.
Beautiful.
And how different that is.
Mm.
And I invite women to start playing with this idea. What if you weren't so overly prepared? What if you were so present with your life and so immersed in the enjoyment of the experience, even the shitty experiences, still appreciating it and marinating in life, and then having the orgasms as part of the experience, not the end, because it just flows into the next experience. Do you find that that's changed for you, that you don't just jump out of bed afterwards and get on with life, because now the orgasm was just part of the experience and it still gets to ride out more for you?
I've never been one to lie. So even with sex, and even if it's very, I'm not a cuddler after it. I've never been. It's sometimes it's more my partner, like, stay here, and I'm like, okay. Almost looking at my watch like, okay, we've been here now for 2 minutes. Can we now? So I've never had that. Could you try? Sorry, my watch was talking. So I never had that to linger around.
Yes.
What I do have is that I stay there and smile and just enjoy the aftermath for when it goes out of your body again and everything is tingling, like, nice. And then I get up. But for me, I've never stayed long enough, probably, or longer than other women, because it's not for me somehow.
But it's not a stop start like a
like a process. Yeah, so
yes.
Dance, brilliant, put away, get up. No,
yeah.
It's I still enjoy it. I enjoy it, even though it's a quick getting up for me. I enjoy it, and I even run then through the house and smile like, oh, this is so nice. Yeah.
Gonna talk out of the bedroom. Oh my God. Let's hope my boyfriend isn't listening to this. He gives me giggling orgasms.
Ooh.
Which I've never had in my life before. I giggle because my body is so happy that I can't not. And that giggle normally goes on and on and on and on and on for a long time. And it's been an amazing experience to see how I've gone from having sex to having joyful pleasure as a woman, and how this changes everything for me in my life.
Yeah.
Joyful pleasure.
I find, so from my experience, I find it's also important what kind of partner you have. Because I had partners who there was no passion. There was no exploration of my body. There was no fascination with how my body reacts. There was foreplay, there was intercourse, but there was something missing for me. And when I had a partner who was passionate, even if I didn't have an orgasm, it was just the passion. Having that passion while you do the foreplay, while you have intercourse, while you play around, whatever you do, that passion, I find, is so much more worth than having the orgasm. Yes. as not as a result, but as part of it.
Surrounding ourselves with passionate people, I feel, is the
Mm.
greatest gift we can give ourselves at this time. Surrounding ourselves with unapologetic people, unashamed people, and unshaming people is one of the greatest gifts we can give ourselves. And the partner does matter, whether it's in your bedroom, whether it's your business, whether it's in friendship, whatever it is. And I feel that as women, we actually have a greater responsibility at this moment to give others the opportunity to step into a more joyful, more inspired state, rather than us always saying, oh, we are here to uplift others. We are here to bow down to others. I'll come down to your level. I'll come and help. And it doesn't mean that we are insensitive and that we don't support each other. And God knows we all have times, right? We all have times when it's just like a fuck this shit day, where your girlfriend's either going to lovingly kick your ass because you're just having a pity party. And I'm all for pity parties. I used to have them multiple times, more than orgasms. Not bashing the pity party. It's got its place. But some days my girlfriend needs to give me a kick up the ass and go, Al, honey, just put on those big gold panties and let's go and have a party. And sometimes she says to me, yeah, here's your space. Rant, rave, get it out of your system, get it off your chest, whatever it is that you need. But it's a very contained space that we have. And then I bounce back to my natural state, because I really am of the opinion that joy is our natural state of being, and everything else is part of life experience. But when we stop suppressing ourselves, we bounce to joy. We come back to that natural state. Wouldn't it be lovely if we as women choose to partner with more joyful people on a daily basis?
That would be amazing. For me, it was, I left Germany happily because my family, and I love them, I love all of them, they wouldn't be my friends if we wouldn't be related. I wouldn't choose them in my life. Like you said, choose those happy, passionate people in your life. They are not like that. So when I left Germany, I was very happy to finally be able to breathe, to be myself, not to answer questions. Why are you like this? Why don't you do that? Look at your siblings. Or what idea do you have now? All of that was left behind. And now I could be me. Now I could spread my wings and become the butterfly that I was supposed to be. And I think sometimes we feel this obligation, particularly to our family, to friends that we had for 10, 20 years, and we just can't let them or leave them. But what I found is a great compromise is, which was for me, to just accept my parents as they are just human beings. They make mistakes. They have their own ideas. They have their own experiences. And this is how they live them out. It has nothing to do with me. And that's okay. I don't need to take it personally. I don't need to learn. I don't need to listen. It's okay. And I did the same with friends that I dearly loved. And I know there is a time to talk to them. There are topics that I'm happily to talk about with them. But most of my life, not. And that's okay. Because I focus on, what do I have? What can I have with them? What can I enjoy with them? And really enjoy it without giving them the responsibility to be everything to me.
Yes. Sometimes unconditional love is in the leaving.
Yeah.
I can love you and not be in your space. I can
Mm.
love you and not have you in my life. That is unconditional love, which I think is so powerful when we make that choice. And it seems to be so tough for majority of people because they think it somehow says that I reject you, or I'm abandoning you, or I'm not being faithful to you and the friendship, you owe me, this is blood. This is like all the old paradigm programming of what a relationship looks like. But if the relationship is creating consistent pain due to an inharmonious vibration, how is that love to insist on staying in somebody's space when it's creating pain for both of you? For me, that is not love, that's suffering. And I think the most loving thing, and I get left a lot in life, I leave a lot in life, because for me, the love is harmony. Love is allowing everybody to have their own experience. And love is accepting and appreciating people for where they are. But if we are not on the same frequency, why do we feel we have to compromise on the higher frequency and come down to a lower frequency and then call it love? I want to pick up on one of the things that you said, in that your family was going, oh, what is the next idea? And what are you up to now again? And as creatives, as artists, as true entrepreneurs, it's impossible for us not to do crazy shit, new shit all of the time. And I think for most people, it does look like, oh my word, here we go again. And I'm watching a show on TV called Something Manor. And it's this couple, this British couple that moved to France, and they bought this old freaking palace and redid it, this castle, and redid it. And they have a wedding place, and the project is crazy. I must put the link in for you so that you can watch this. And the woman, the wife, every episode, she goes into a new place and she goes, oh, I think that we need to build a kitchen here and an outdoor area here. And it's like this rundown freaking forest piece. And then the husband just laughs and he goes, oh, ha, 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 here we go again. And then he builds it for her, right? And we were watching it, and I said to Darren, I love this couple because this woman is batshit crazy creative, and he never puts her down. He never says you're crazy. He never says slow down. He never says that's not possible. He makes it happen. And we went and researched them, and they're touring now, and they've got best-selling books and a ton of businesses that has come out of this creative life that they chose. And I looked at it and I thought, that's power couple. When the masculine and the feminine comes together, and the feminine has the vision and the masculine just figures out how to make it happen without ever saying that's too much, let's slow down, whatever. Have you found that person for you that can keep up with Anna, the creative, the artist, the entrepreneur? And what does it feel like for you after a family of slow down, too much, stop it, need to settle down, need to do the thing?
I sometimes feel like I'm the masculine in our relationship. Because Dirk he has a lot of ideas. He is full of energy, and he changes his mind probably 20 times a day. And for me, at the beginning, it was a bit disturbing. Why are you like a little flag in the wind, just changing your mind all the time? But I come to realize that because he's creative, but he's not showing it in an obvious way. He's not painting, or he's not building something, but he has this amazing creating for his work, problem solving brain. And he comes up with so many things that he wants to do. When we go on holiday, he changes his mind 10,000 times because he gets a new idea, something else he wants to do. And I'm just like, okay, yeah, let's wait till tomorrow and see what comes up tomorrow. And I love that because it gives me the chance to be there for him, to support him in his creativity of his kind. And when it comes to me and my ideas, he is, because he knows that I have, I think, always amazing ideas and I want to live them out. And he has gone through this with me now for many years. And he's at the point now where he says, okay, think about it. Tell me more about it tomorrow. And sometimes it's just like, idea is gone. It's not that great anymore. Forget about it. But he lets me, for him, it was also an adjustment to have someone who is similar to him and where he then learned to give space for those ideas, for that creativity, for all of the changes in the ideas. It's a nice balance, and
Yes.
I like that. But
yes.
particularly when it comes to orgasms or my topic, sexual intimacy coach, he's still learning to accept that. Because he's a bit reserved. He's like, this is my private space. I don't know what other people think. It's that people pleasing, being insecure with, do I really want people to see me as who I am? And that's okay. We come back to that unconditional love, to just say, this is okay for me. You have a problem. It's not my problem. And we live with it.
Yeah, I feel like there's almost a little bit of a snobbish attitude in the personal development world at the moment, that everybody should be into the personal development and we should all be these liberated. And my boyfriend is a farmer. He knows nothing about personal development. He doesn't even know what a coach is. He's never worked with one. Extraordinarily grounded, successful man. And whenever we talk about my work, he's like, I don't get it, but I want to understand, but I don't get it. And somebody asked me, how can you date somebody like that? And I was like, it's the most refreshing thing, because when you've been in personal development for decades, the way that I have, and all your friends are in personal development work and do their own personal development work and read the books and work with the coaches and the mentors and the this and the that, we all become a little bit development obsessed and development snobbish, because now everybody must do it. How delectably refreshing to have a man who knows jack shit about all the things, and he's probably the most consciously evolved person that I have met in a really, really long time. And he lets me be who I am, and I get to let him be who he is. And we get to enjoy that difference in each other, instead of thinking that we have to be the same on all levels. And I love how you guys bring in that masculine and feminine creative balance for each other. Because when I talk about masculine and feminine, I don't necessarily mean men and women. You know, we're talking about the energies and the creative problem-solving energy, and then the problem-solving energy, feminine, masculine. And I think that when we can find our partner that balances that for us, I'm the uber creative person. I find it really hard to verbalize what I feel and what I'm creating and how I'm operating. And it's been so helpful to have a man who's very problem-solving oriented, to sit me down and go, no, we're going to get you to a point where you can verbalize something that I can actually understand, and hold that space relentlessly for me to work through I don't know, I just do this. I think it's really important for us to bring this into our lives, this masculine, feminine, creative, problem-solving dynamic in ourselves, but then also in our relationships. How does that translate to the bedroom, though? The masculine, feminine interplay in intimacy. What is your observation there?
From my client's perspective, it's that the women that I work with, they have that feminine energy and they want to have that feminine energy. But occasionally, they want to be the masculine. It's like, I think for all of us, it's depending on the mood. Sometimes we just want to have that flower sex, that softness, and sometimes we just want to get banged. So it's depending on where we are. That's what we want to live out. And I think it's the same. Sometimes you are the feminine, sometimes you are the masculine. And when then both partners agree on it and can switch roles, amazing.
Yes. Yeah. I found personally for myself in my previous relationships, I've always had such a strong masculine energy that it translated into the bedroom, and I never allowed myself to be truly feminine in the bedroom because I had to be the strong one. I had to be the, let's get down to business and get it done one. And now for the first time, and this is really interesting for me, I get to be feminine in the bedroom. I get to surrender. I get to enjoy. I get to not overthink it, and actually be present in my body. What is something that women can do to be more present in their bodies?
Well, from my experience is to quieten that mind drama that you have. Letting go of the daily worries. Quieten that voice that we all have. And that comes back to it's coaching, but it's also a technique. It's something I personally teach my clients, how to quieten that voice. Because I find just by talking about it, when we as coaches, we know what we talk about. We know what it means. We know where it comes from. We know all of that. But someone who never has dealt with it, they have no idea what we're talking about. They have no idea why we should do it and what it's about and where does it come from and what are the benefits. So I find occasionally it's very beneficial to explain, to teach, say, this is why we're doing it and this is where it's coming from and this is how it can help you in your life. So when you can quieten that voice, that helps immensely to be present, to focus again. And not focus, but be present, focus on the moment and enjoy that. Yeah. What is your experience?
Oh, it's getting out of my head. And again, I want to reiterate here, my body was completely shut down. Like my body was so dead. I couldn't feel if you touched my body from my breasts all the way to my knees. That is how dead my body had become. And part of that was, shutting down sexually. Part of that was all the trauma that I was holding in my body. And because I didn't want to deal with my emotional mess that my life was in, I became an Iron Man and I put my body through tremendous pain and trauma, and learned how to load it with pain, right? To where it was physically shutting down just to cope. And I was such a badass for doing it. It took a lot of courage for me to go, okay, I'm willing to get out of my head, which was my default, and get into my body and allow myself to feel again. And even now, when it's intimacy time, I get out of my head and I get into my body. I consciously take my focus to the touch points. I consciously take my focus to the stimulation points and allow myself to be present there very physically rather than to think about things, which is what I used to do. And I find that is so powerful in all of my life now. Even whilst I'm eating, I used to be the chronic eat while I work kind of person. Hardly tasted my food. Food is just fuel. To now, oh my God, I'm like a glutton. I'm like, oh my God, this food is so good. Have you tasted this? Because that's the joy of the body, right? Is the sensory experience of life. Instead of just the mental or the spiritual experience of life that we are so preached at the moment, that sensory experience is what makes us a human life experience and what makes it so rich. So yeah, for me, it is not necessarily trying to quieten my mind, because my mind is an extraordinarily present state, but I use it to actually go to the points in my body and to allow that sensory experience to take place. Now, I'm looking at the time and thinking, oh my God, we can talk for another hour, but I want to be respectful of everybody's time. What do you take an unapologetic stand for in this lifetime?
Being me.
Mm-hmm.
And allowing other people to be them. So I think you wrote it even down in my business statement. My purpose is to give women the space to be who they are or who they want to be, because some are not happy with who they are, but who they want to be then, become, grow into it. So I want to give that space to everyone that I meet to just be who they are, without judgment, without stigma, without anything, just with love and openness.
Love that. Where do women connect with you? Where is the best place for them to connect with you, Anna?
The best place is currently LinkedIn. That's the one platform that I'm enjoying being on. So it's Anna Fellman Coaching, or they can send me an email, of course, at anna@annafellman.com.
Beautiful. Oh, thank you so much. This was an interesting conversation. I actually want to go and listen to the recording, because I think there was so many things that we covered today. Thank you for playing with me so nicely. And as always, I actually grow so much out of these conversations, Anna, because I get to start questioning my own belief patterns, and I get to start looking at the world a different way. And so it's so courageous for women such as you to say yes to just coming and having a random conversation. And I really hope the listeners do a take two on this, because there's some really deep rooted issues that we touched on today, with regards to the feminine, sexuality, how we as women are showing up, how we as women are allowing marketing to influence how we are showing up. And that's definitely a topic that's worth discussing a little bit more. And I'd like to discuss that a little bit more with you offline, by the way. Sorry, ladies, but you know what? You can always come into the sanctuary and come and join in the conversation. I'll talk about the sanctuary at another time. But this is so important for us to start understanding. It's not who we are being that we are rejecting. It is often how we are showing up in the world that we are rejecting. It is how we are conditioned to show up in the world that we are rejecting. And when we remove those layers, when we remove that conditioning and strip it down to who we actually are, there is nothing to be ashamed of. There is only to be proud of, and there's only to be accepting of, loving of, and appreciative of. Because at our core, we are magnificence in human form. We are divinely having human experiences, and in that, evolving consciousness, evolving source, evolving life. When you get that you are the miracle and the miracle maker, that changes the game. So I thank you for being here today. Thank you for listening to this conversation. Would love to hear from you in the comments. What is your experience with regards to your sensuality, your intimacy with yourself, and intimacy with your partner? And let's take this conversation further. So until next week, don't forget, we get to live our legacies unleashed, unlimited, and unapologetic. Have an amazing day further. Cheers. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review. To catch all the latest from me, you can follow me on Instagram at The Unapologetic Woman and on LinkedIn at Al-Naj. And if you're interested in experiencing the Unapologetic Woman Friendwork Soiree, book in for our next open meeting at unapologetic-women.as.me/unapologetic. Thanks again, and I'll see you next week.